When the PS5 first launched, it seemed like we'd never have to worry about upgrading again. There was talk about this being the last console generation and what have you. But as anyone that lived through the previous ones will tell you, a refresh is always around the corner. Lo and behold, after months of rumours, Sony has officially revealed its redesigned PS5. However, this isn't the long-rumoured mid-generation console refresh. The current model may turn 3 years old by the time this redesign is out, but for all intents and purposes, this isn't the next major technological leap for Sony's current-gen console. The new PS5 also offers regular and digital editions, and both will become available to purchase in November, though a concrete date is yet to be revealed. So, the big question is, what can fans expect with these new models? How different are they from the base versions? Will you have to pay more? And are those snazzy panels purchased for the current models still good? Here are 10 things you should know about the new PS5 before buying. Explaining the new models. First of all, why is the new PS5 called just that, and not just the PS5 Slim? Before we get into that, it's important to note what the new model does differently from the current console. The new default model now has an Ultra-HD Blu-ray disc drive, which is detachable. That's more or less it in terms of game-changing features. Simply pop off the bottom front panel and the disc drive is removable, ideally as easily as the pictures make it look. The new PS5 Digital Edition doesn't have a disc drive, just like the current model, but now supports attaching a Blu-ray disc drive. What was previously 2 different SKUs is now 1, with the main difference being that you get an Ultra-HD Blu-ray disc drive included with the new default model, and the digital edition has a port to install it. Lighter and less voluminous. Of course, even if the new PS5 isn't called the Slim, it is smaller, with a 30% reduction in volume. The new default model weighs 18% less than the current one, at about 3.2 kilograms, while the digital edition is 24% lighter than its predecessor at 2.4 kilograms. It may not seem like much, especially when viewing the old and new consoles side by side, but for all intents and purposes, this is the slimmer version of the PS5, if not necessarily an officially named Slim. 4-panel design. Another thing to note about the design is the external panels. Whereas the current PS5 has 2 solid plastic panels adorning its chassis, the new PS5 consists of 4 panels. The top panels are glossy, while the bottom are matte. Whether the glossiness will result in smudges and how solid the build quality is remains to be seen. Perhaps that matte finish allows for gripping the console more easily when you move it around. One thing looks to be guaranteed though, all those swappable external panels for the PS5 now seem pretty useless. If you're picking up the new model, you'll need new panels to swap out. Same price, except in Japan. The new PS5 and PS5 Digital Edition will remain the same price in the United States, Europe and the United Kingdom. Unfortunately, the same can't be said of Japan, as the former will cost 66,980 yen, while the latter retails for 58,980 yen. The current prices are 600,478 yen and 49,478 yen, with the increase highest for the PS5 Digital Edition. It's a significant jump, and the second price increase for the console in Japan. Sony hasn't explained why, or whether it's due to high global inflation rates and adverse currency trends that have caused pressure on many industries, like with the first price increase. Regardless, it's happening, so beware. Attachable Blu-ray disc drive sold separately. As noted earlier, the Ultra-HD Blu-ray disc drive is now attachable. It can be removed from the default model and installed onto the digital edition. However, what if you buy the digital edition and later want to install games via discs for whatever reason? The Blu-ray disc drive is available separately for $79.99, €119.99, £99.99, or 11,980 yen. Does that mean a PS5 Digital Edition with the disc drive purchased separately will cost more than buying the new default console? Well, yes, but at least you have a choice, as long as supplies last. 1TB SSD. The other big hardware change in the new PS5 model is the increased internal storage. When the current model was released, it was criticized, and rightfully so, for an 825GB SSD with only 667GB available to use. Not exactly the most space, especially considering the ever-increasing size of some PS5 exclusives. The new models, the default and the digital edition, will feature a 1TB SSD. If the reserved space is the same, that means 842GB for games, media, save data and whatnot, which is a nice sizable bump. No other internal hardware changes. Aside from the increased SSD size, the inherent hardware inside both the new PS5 models is still the same. They both sport an AMD Ryzen Zen 2 octa-core CPU with a variable frequency of up to 3.5 GHz, a custom AMD Radeon RDNA 2 GPU with 10.3 teraflops peak performance, and 16 GB of GDDR6 RAM. They both still feature the same ports and support for Tempest 3D audio tech. Aside from the available storage space, the new models have no advantages over the current ones in raw performance, at least on paper. Expandable storage still supported. If a 1TB SSD isn't enough, you can still expand the storage with an additional SSD. Sony confirmed to IGN that there are no changes in this regard. Open the back panel and attach the drive for more space. Granted, it still needs to be an M.2 SSD and support PCIe Gen 4, though lower speeds than the recommended have worked, but your current expandable storage won't be useless if you plan on upgrading consoles. New vertical stand. The new models include a horizontal stand for free, but on top of this is a new vertical stand sold separately. It's a plastic case with a sleek outer ring, so unlike the current dual-purpose stand, it can't be used for anything other than propping the console up vertically. Costing $29.99, €29.99, £24.99 and 3,980 yen, it's compatible with all PS5 models. At the very least, it looks easier to operate than the current stand, which is a plus. The new models going forward. The new PS5 model is rather unprecedented because it's not quite an overhaul or a new console, at least not like the PS4 Slim or PS4 Pro. If anything, it's more like a soft reboot in the design and a number of available features. However, much like the more drastic redesigns, once the current stock of PS5 consoles is over, only the new models will be manufactured going forward. If you're a fan of the soon-to-be old design or want to buy a PS5 in Japan before the prices increase next month, now is the time. So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.